I just wanted to share with you how much things have changed. Most Americans, particularly Americans under 40, are unaware of this history of the United States. In August of 1969, Richard Nixon was president, and a lawyer for the Associated Milk Producers, this is the milk lobby, walked into the White House and gave Herbert Kalmbach, who is President Nixon's personal lawyer, not his president lawyer, his personal lawyer. So this is anything you give to Nixon's personal lawyer is going right straight to Nixon, personally. Right? This is not a campaign contribution. This is a bribe. And the lawyer for the Associated Milk Producers gave Herbert Kalmbach $100,000 to give to Richard Nixon in exchange for him lobbying members of Congress to keep the price of milk high. It's what's called milk support subsidies. As Richard Reeves, a reporter who covered this at the time, told NPR, quote, "It was a simple trade. Nixon got $2 million for charging American consumers $100 million. And that was back in the days when $1 million was a lot of money. Then it happened again. I'm going to sneeze here in a second. Excuse me. They always happen in, what, 3s, 8s, 10s? That was 2. On May 23rd, 1971, it happened again. Only this time it was $2 million that the milk guys gave to Richard Nixon. They walked into the White House with $2 million and gave it to him. It was actually recorded on the White House tapes. It's probably the only time that the bribing of a president has been recorded on tape. But what this illustrates, and keep in mind, this was to get Richard Nixon to call up Republicans in the House and Senate and ask them for a personal favor of supporting milk price subsidies and supports. Keep the price of milk high so that the milk industry could make more money. They'd invest $2 million in a bribe to Richard Nixon, the president. They'd make hundreds of millions. That's how hard it was in 1971 to get the president to work on your behalf if you were a big industry. In this case, the milk lobby, or a lobbyist, or a bankster. Nowadays, they don't have to bribe you. They don't have to. I mean, if you wanted to influence the president of the United States, you want to influence the Democratic Party, you want to influence the Republican Party, all you've got to do is have enough money that you can throw it into enough campaigns that you can get a whole bunch of people to say what you want them to say. Case in point, all the Republicans who are denying climate change because they're taking money from fossil fuel barons. They know what they're doing is wrong. They're not idiots. Jim Inhofe is not an idiot. I mean, he might be in denial, but I frankly doubt it. I think probably back when he wrote his book, he actually believed that there was something to what he was saying, but he can't possibly believe that now. These guys just know which side their bread is buttered on. They know who's paying them. But no longer, the fossil fuel industry, the Koch brothers don't have to go to Jim Inhofe's office and hand $1 million in a briefcase under the table. They do it right out in the open now. And this is all, now keep in mind, these Nixon bribes were in 69 and 71. And these are just one of the few that we know of where Nixon was bribed. He was also bribed in 1959 when he was vice president of the United States by Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, Nixon had been taking bribes his entire political career. But nowadays, you don't need to bribe them. You just drop $400,000 into their campaign. And you don't even have to drop it into their campaign where it has to be revealed to the world. You drop it into, you do a blow up 501c3, right? Just create a nonprofit corporation. You don't even have to get the approval of the IRS. You can operate on a provisional basis as if you have approval. And that 501c3 then protects you from having to tell who your donors are. And then you go into the district of that member of Congress or the state of that senator, and you blow out $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, $50 million worth of television advertising. and either elevate that candidate to the point where they get elected or blow away their opponent to the point where that candidate gets elected. And you now own them. So now we have this, Jamie Dimon calling members of Congress and saying, please vote for this bill. If this was 1971, he would have had to sneak over to the White House and slip Obama a couple $1 million in a briefcase. And frankly, I don't think Obama would have taken the money. But now our system has been so badly corrupted by these monarchs. In our constitutional monarchy, the 5 of the 9 members of the U.S. Supreme Court, the conservative gang of 5, our system, our democratic republic, has been so corrupted by big money that our politicians are no longer trustworthy. And they're not trustworthy because they have to depend on these guys if they want to be elected. They have to. This is just our system. So rather than sitting around going, oh, this is terrible that Obama was calling or Jamie Dimon was able to, we should say, this should be a crime. We're going to go back to the laws that said that you cannot give money to members of Congress in exchange for their doing favors for you. It's called bribery.